So I went out and I rented a rototiller, which I thought was a thing about like so. It turned out to be 7 feet long. Big motor. For years, America believed Michael Landon was the perfect image of a gentle father, a man of faith, family. But behind that smile was a completely different life. Nights when he vanished from home, strange packages delivered to the Malibu mansion, hidden photographs, and smoke-filled parties with faces no one could name. After nearly 40 years of silence, his son, Michael Landon Jr., finally told it all. In the interview that made Hollywood hold its breath, he said just one sentence that froze the entire studio. "They praised my father for his kindness, but it was deceit that kept him alive his whole life." That line opened the door to the dark side of a legend, a place where the light of television could never reach. And now let's turn back time to the years 1978-1983, where the real story began and America's perfect father first showed his true face. 1. My father never loved my mother, because he never loved any woman at all. Michael Landon Jr.'s voice dropped as he said those words in a special interview with Vanity Fair in Los Angeles. The room went quiet. The yellow light fell on the face of a man in his 60s, his eyes red yet burning with something painful and freeing, as if he had finally spoken the truth Hollywood had buried for decades. He wasn't a cheating husband, Michael said slowly. He was a man who had to betray himself just to survive. He remembered Beverly Hills in the late 1970s. The Landon house, the happiest home in America they called it, was always bright but never warm. In the living room, family photos lined the walls, each frame slightly crooked as if someone refused to fix them. That house was always cold, Michael recalled. Even when Mom made his favorite meals, steak mashed potatoes, he never sat down with us. He remembered his birthday in 1980. The cake sat untouched, candles burned out, and his father still hadn't come home. I waited. Mom tried to smile, saying he was busy working, but I saw tears falling into her wine glass. Near midnight, the door opened. Landon walked in, smelling of a strange cologne. He patted his son's shoulder. "Happy birthday, champ," then went straight upstairs. No gift, no hug. I thought he was just tired. Later, I realized he was somewhere else, body and soul. While the public worshipped him as America's dad on the cover of People magazine, another rumor spread quietly behind the scenes at NBC. Michael Landon had a special relationship with photographer Eli Rosen, the young man always by his side on the Little House on the Prairie set. Eli wasn't just his photographer, a former lighting technician recalled. He was his shadow. They ate together, left the set together, always whispering. Then came the scandal. In July 1979, while filming in Utah, both men were seen leaving their hotel early in the morning wearing matching bathrobes. A hotel cleaner later said they looked like two people who had just woken up after a long night. NBC immediately held a closed meeting. Days later, Landon suddenly appeared with a new face beside him, an 18-year-old makeup artist named Cindy Landon. The next day, Variety printed their photo hand-in-hand outside La Scala restaurant. Michael Landon's new love lights up Hollywood. Everyone understood this was a cover-up, but the public believed it was easier to believe. "My father knew how to perform, even off-camera," Michael Jr. said. He kissed her for the cameras, like a man proving something, not a man in love. When Cindy became pregnant in late 1982, Michael Jr., then 19, began to hope. "I thought maybe he'd changed. He came home earlier, sometimes even smiled." His mother, Lynn No, had already moved out, choosing silence to protect her children. The media called Cindy Michael's reborn love, and NBC hailed it as the redemption of America's favorite dad. But soon, Michael Jr. saw through it. One night in early 1983, he returned home early and overheard his father whispering into the phone, "Don't call again. We can't keep doing this." He didn't hear the name, but deep down, he knew it wasn't Cindy. Weeks later, Landon announced his engagement to Cindy Clerico. The wedding took place hurriedly on Valentine's Day 1983 on a white Malibu beach. Only select journalists were invited, all NBC insiders. The Los Angeles Times headline read, "Michael Landon love returns after the storm." America exhaled in relief. But in Michael Jr.'s diary, written in shaky teenage handwriting, there was only one line he didn't marry for love. He married out of fear the truth would be seen. That truth, Michael later said, wasn't about infidelity. It was something Hollywood at the time could never accept, a man of fame and power whose heart didn't fit the image he played. "I don't blame him for who he was," Michael said, voice trembling. "I blame him for lying to all of us just to protect that image." After the wedding, everything worsened. He became distant, angry, and drank more. When Cindy appeared on set, Landon's smile lit up the room. At home, he was silent for hours. No family dinners, no Christmas, no birthdays. "One year I sent him a handmade Christmas card," Michael said. "He left it unopened on the table and drove off. I watched from the window, saw his face in the car lights. I knew we had nothing left to say." For NBC, the marriage was perfect PR. They launched a press campaign for Highway to Heaven, painting Landon as a symbol of faith and family. But inside the studios, whispers grew. A crew member told Los Angeles Herald-Examiner in 1985 he'd sit in the makeup room for hours staring at himself. When Cindy called, he smiled, but his eyes were empty. As Michael Jr. grew older, he began to understand. "My father lived in a time when someone like him couldn't be himself," he said. "He chose to hide, to lie, and in the end, he lost everything, including us." Years later, when his mother Lynn died, Michael found a letter in her drawer. In her delicate handwriting, "You married that girl to protect your image, not your heart." He read it over and over, then smiled sadly. She knew everything, but never said a word. She kept his image alive for us. Now at 60, Michael no longer feels anger, only pity. Sometimes he re-watches Little House on the Prairie and sees his father's smile, beautiful but strangely sad. "I once thought he was the strongest man alive," he said. "But maybe he was just the loneliest." He looked straight into the camera, voice calm but firm. "I'm not telling this to destroy him. I'm telling it so people understand that behind Hollywood's perfection, there's often a human being quietly falling apart." Then he smiled faintly and whispered, "He ran from himself all his life." But in the end, the truth still found him. And that was only the beginning. Because what came next was even darker. The secret that kept Michael Jr. silent for over 40 years, the truth that forever shattered the myth of America's ideal father. 2. That wasn't my father anymore. It was someone else. Someone living in the shadows, breathing through bottles and smoke, forgetting who he was. Michael said this in a hoarse voice, eyes gazing out the window. "I used to think he was just lonely after the divorce. But no, he had stepped into a world I never dared imagine." After leaving Lynn No, Michael Landon moved from his laughter-filled Beverly Hills home to a new mansion in Malibu, luxurious, empty, facing the Pacific Ocean. Jazz music always played softly at night, drowning out the waves. Those nights smelled of Scotch cigarettes and something sweet and chemical, Michael recalled. "He barely came home, and when he did, he passed by me like I was invisible.